Legendary superstar Prince has been found dead at his home in Minnesota. I'm Ashley Webster in this afternoon for Trish Regan. Welcome, everybody, to the Intelligence Report. The 57-year-old singer was briefly hospitalized last Friday in Illinois. This after his private jet made an emergency landing to take him to the hospital. At the time, his representative said he was suffering from the flu, but he was released just a few hours after that and actually performed a concert the very next day. But this morning, the Carver County Sheriff responded to a medical call from Prince's estate, which is called Paisley Park. It is the compound where he lived, recorded music, hosted parties, and even gave concerts. The singer-songwriter, whose real name was Prince Rogers Nelson, wrote his very first song at the age of just 7. His 1984 album, Purple Rain, sold more than 13 million copies in the U.S., spent more than 24 weeks at #1 on the Billboard chart. His film of the same name also won him an Academy Award and grossed more than $80 million. At one point that year, Prince simultaneously had the #1 album, single, and film, a first for any singer. He's also sold, by the way, over 100 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling artists of all time. He won 7 Grammy Awards, he had 30 nominations, he had a Golden Globe and also an Academy Award for that musical score for the movie Purple Rain. With more reaction now, Michael Tammaro, host of the In the Foxlight, and Carley Shimkus, reporter for Fox News Headlines 24/7. Thank you both for being here on a very sad day. Michael, let me begin with you. Shocking news. He's 57 years old. We knew he had flu, and he had that emergency landing of the plane, very dramatic, but then he gave a concert the next day. Yeah. What's your reaction?
Shocking and sad. I haven't felt like this since the passing of Whitney Houston. It's one of those you really can't believe it.
Yeah.
His impact on the music business is going to go on for decades. I mean, there's so many young artists he's influenced. You can go on Twitter and see what's happening now with everyone kind of reacting.
Yeah.
Over 100 million albums sold, 7-time Grammy winner, Academy Award winner, recently inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
He was prolific, wasn't he? 39 albums in a 35-year career.
Groundbreaking artist. He's one of those artists that really pushed the boundaries, as we were talking, not only on the music field, but gender boundaries, sexual boundaries, and in business. He's one of the first artists to really fight for control of his own content and creative music.
Yeah. Let me bring in Carley to get her response to this. Shocking news, Carley.
Wow, it certainly is. And you can really tell on social media the outpouring of support is unbelievable. Really like something I've never seen before. This is a big breaking story, which means obviously it just happened. Over 1.5 million tweets have already been sent out with his name in it. Celebrities running the gambit of the music industry. Demi Lovato, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Keith Urban even, all tweeting out their support and their sorrow. But more importantly, regular people, just like you and me, are also tweeting as well, and there are pictures being posted on Twitter, people hugging, trying to just wrap their brain around what just happened, because he meant so much to the community that he lived in Minnesota. And it's really interesting that even though he was a big music industry celebrity, he stayed in that small town, and that's one of the things that made him so special and why he's really being mourned across the country today.
It's a very good point, Carley. Paisley Park, by the way, is about 50 miles southwest of Minneapolis. As Carley just pointed out, he was born there and lived there his entire life. He came out of the music scene in Minneapolis, didn't he?
Yeah, and that's one of the things I loved about him so much. He was grounded. You don't have a career that lasts over 30 years and not have it together in some way. You never really saw him in the news in a bad way. Even though he was in the music industry, he never went in Hollywood or got into the New York scene. He did date some big-known stars, whether Kim Basinger, Madonna, Carmen Electra, but he never really went Hollywood. He was the hometown boy who was born in Minneapolis, and he sadly passed away in Minneapolis.
He was also considered a perfectionist, is that right? He's somewhat difficult in the studio because he wanted it just right, and as you said, he pushed the boundaries, and his music style, it was rock, it was pop, it was funk, it was everything.
Well, for him, the music was personal. It was art, and artists like that who last over 30 years, they're very detail-oriented by nature. I think that's fair to say.
Carley, his first album was released all the way back in 1978, but he was still relevant in today's music scene, which isn't easy to do when musical tastes change.
He sure was, and that's Because it was sort of this, even though you're right, he was grounded, he was also this larger-than-life person, wasn't he? Where, you know, you're always a little curious about him. He was very shy. What is he really thinking? And I think that spoke to a lot of people. And like you said, 100 million records worldwide sold, making him one of the best-selling artists of all time. That means that this man's career had staying power, and a lot of people's certainly don't. Certainly a larger-than-life celebrity passed away today.
Yeah, Carly makes a great point. He was shy. So many celebrities and artists, they put everything out there. And while he was out there, there was a mystery about him. He held a little bit back, and that's part of his greatness.
And also, he went through that spell where he dropped the name and went to a symbol, and people thought, this guy is really out there. But that actually
added to his appeal.
Added to his appeal, to that mystique almost.
Yeah.
Well, that's how you know you're big in this business, when you go by one name, whether it be Cher or just Ashley. You're really big.
Not going to work.
When you just have a symbol to your name. And that was part of his dispute with Warner Brothers, actually.
Yeah, because he was in a dispute with the label, and he said, you're not going to get my name on your record. You can just have a symbol.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
And that album on the top of the iTunes chart right now.
That's amazing too. Incredible. And also, you know, he was not only a perfectionist, he was prolific, as we said, but also he was a brilliant musician. I don't know whether he got the credit. He could play I don't know, 9, 10, 11 instruments. I think he was a brilliant guitarist, underrated.
Incredible guitarist.
And underrated.
Yeah. Just look at so many future musicians that he probably influenced down the road. I mean, his legacy is going to be all of us walking around today who are humming his music, and all the stars, whether it be Lady Gaga or whoever, or Sheena Easton, who he created. You know, that's his legacy.
All right. Very sad day for music. Carly, thank you so much for joining us, and Michael, too. Thank you for being here. It's been a tough year for the music world.
Certainly.
We've had Glenn Frey, we've had Merle Haggard, we've had David Bowie, now Prince. We will bring you more, of course, on this breaking story. If we get any more details, we will bring them to you immediately.